our session is going to be kind of light-hearted. It's a summer session, and I didn't want to get into something very heavy. I was thinking, what can we do? This platform is meant for us to share, communicate, ideate, participate together. And one thing I realized is that most of our sessions are very participatory, and we all use, some kind of methodology, method, or tool as one of our main, drivers for the web jam. And I felt that this is something that professionally we all use, day in and day out. And it would be a great way of sharing and seeing whether we are like-minded, whether we are different. One thing I'd like to add, that we are live on YouTube. If you'd like to smile and laugh and show your faces, please be there on our screen. But if you choose not to, it's okay. You can be there. Otherwise, because we will be taking some screenshots and sharing. So yeah, let's just go to the next slide, Jimena. So I wanted to start with something that is something that we all relate to. So in terms of methods and tools, for when I think of it, it's something that I look at in terms of relevance, in terms of choice and selection, in terms of the usability quality, if whether we can iterate on it, and what are the outcomes. So when I'm like looking at methods, this is what comes to my mind. It is something that I've already practiced. It's something that I reference to, or it's something that I've created on my own. So I'd like to ask everyone, how do you make a choice of what tool or method to use in a process? You can pop it into the chat, and yeah, and just share and let us all see what comes out of it. Yeah, so how do you choose? What are the choices? What are the drivers that you think about when, when you're making a selection for, is it about the people? Is it about yeah, I see somebody saying context, client, situation, definitely. Sometimes we go in thinking that we will use X, Y, and Z, and then giving the environment and the the energy, you change and you use something else. That's happened to me a few times, but it's always a learning journey, and it's it's something that we keep building on. I've kept the exercises very simple. We can either do it on the plenary, or we can go into breakout rooms. The first exercise, Jimena, would you please share the screen? Is a very simple exercise where we kind of just map out our initial thoughts. So if you also just pop the prompter into the chat. Okay, let me just.
We're going to go here.
Yeah.
Step 1, step 2, and we're going to 1.
Yeah. Yes, Peggy, I'm just doing that, right? Yeah, so if you click on this Miro link, apparently Miro's been a bit slow today for some, so don't worry, it'll just take your time, it'll open up eventually. So the step 1 of the first exercise is that just tell me what your favorite method or tool is, and you can just write it, just write the name, and what your least liked method or tool is. So you can just, it's a fairly easygoing exercise. So just take a post-it and just tell me what it is. That's your first exercise. Jimena, if you just slide it to the third step 2, I'd like to just talk about that as well. Oh, Matthew, I didn't know about this, but one of our web jammers, Union, she told me about this. So it's good to see that people are thinking alike. And the step 2 is that in the step 1, you can add more than 1 or 2 options or even 3. So, and people might duplicate. So that's completely okay. Step 2 is that pick any one of them from the first category and the second category and just place it on the map. So we know also how much is the most liked and how much is the least liked. So, we can also make a reference to that. And so for my favorite, yeah, personas was one of my favorite as well, because I think there's a lot of value to it. And also, context mapping. I think, there's a lot that comes out initially, when you're in that generative state, of like you starting your design journey. My least favorite is the fly on the wall technique, where I feel it's an invasion of privacy, where you're observing and taking notes about people, because people are very conscious nowadays, and it's not that you're really taking consent. So I feel that's, something that, somebody doesn't like concept mapping. That's good to know also. So yeah, so that's my my least liked. Please feel free to, chat while you're adding your post-its. I'd like to hear what people think. So, yeah, so there is, feel free to, just speak or pop something into the chat also. Yeah, I see role playing. Yeah, that gets a bit like on the spot, but it's also fun at times because it makes you go out of your comfort zone. Um,
Too sure if it's getting added from my side, Anupa.
yeah.
I'm not too sure if it's getting added. I put down journey map and how might you and empathy maps and all that, but I'm not able to paste it anywhere.
Okay. Maybe if you can just pop it into the chat, then
Chat?
somebody can just add it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it.
So yeah. Any thoughts about what you felt about the exercise? I could see a lot of similarities, a lot of differences. Yeah. Would you like to share?
I'm a bit confused by the axes on the graph.
So basically what the axis is meant to do is that if you see the top axis, which is most liked, and the one at the bottom, which is likable. So you can, like, let's say if you take your post-it from the step one, the first one, then you can jot it, you can place it wherever you think. It's like 0 to 10, right? So the second option would be from 0 to 10 again, from likable to least liked. So that's the parameter that you need to choose. So let's say if I take, so let's say if I take fly on the wall, I would put it right at the end where role playing is, so that's how much I least like it. And for persona, maybe I would put it, next to maybe a little bit above how might we be. So, so you can see the difference and the relation to your, liking or disliking meter. So yeah, I think we can maybe stop sharing, and maybe we can have some discussion about what people thought of the exercise.
We would like to go first.
Yes, otherwise I need to start picking people, like, in terms of like throwing the ball.
I can go.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So I think this is really nice because it's not always that you use all the tools, right? It depends on the client, the time that you have, and the problem statement that you're trying to address, all of it. So I like this because it's also helping me jog my memory, and I'm just very keen on also looking at the other tools because I'm sure I'm not trying all of them. So I might have some, I might be using an 80-20. So what is it I'm using, and what has been useful for the others? It's a very nice exercise.
Yes, that was one of the main motives behind the web jam today, is because the thing is that it's always what you're learning and what you're finding, which is great. But then when you're looking at a space where you're co-sharing, and this is a space where all of us are very well versed with. So, what else is happening out there? So, it might, click and, bring out some insight, or, exactly start something that, or, that people can use later on. Anna, would you like to share your thought?
Yeah, I was thinking of some of the initial discussions we have with our clients when we are developing or designing a program. And of course, you always design the programs based on your preferred tools. And then you meet with the client and they say, oh, no, but we don't like, role playings, or we love role playings. And then, so it's a great way to have a initial discussion with the client, so that you have a more targeted design instead of just working on your own at the beginning.
Yeah. Anybody else who'd like to go? Hugo?
Okay.
Or,
are you listening? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about
yes.
the tools in terms of being proxies, because sometimes when people ask me to do some workshop or to do some kind of initiative regarding, I don't know, innovation or design thinking, sometimes I have to choose not my favorite one, not the one that I think that will work best, but the one that can create some kind of bridge between the results and and needs of the company and the complexity of their state of maturity in terms of what they are being able to grasp for that moment or so. So I don't know. Sometimes I would think that concept mapping would be okay, but I have to use, I don't know, a mix with brainstorming or brainwriting and dot voting and trend metrics in order to get them to the principles and to the design criteria. So it is funny, and sometimes it's a paradox how we must choose not the tools that we like and that can fit the best purpose, but tools that can be a proxy in terms of what we should do with the team and organizations, and how mature and how open they are to explore new ways of thinking and creating ideas.
Yeah, I think one thing I think is important is not only understanding the capacity of the participants who will be utilizing your tools or yourself in what context, but I think it's also very important to understand the behavior and the mindset that that will kind of engineer what the outcome would be. And I think that would go for, let's say, whether it's design thinking, UX, service design, any of these processes that we use today. Yeah, if anybody else would like to share, or I'll go on to the next exercise.
Anupa,
uh,
would you be able to share the whatever has been compiled as what people are comfortable using, the tools? Would you be sharing that sometime?
Yes, so the things that the whole session is going to be on our website. I'll be
Ah,
sharing this link there as well, which any of you can access later and use as a resource. So our second exercise. So Jimena, would you please zoom into our second exercise, please? Um, so I'll just show you an example about, what the second exercise is. It's just basically demonstrating and just elaborating on the first exercise. So you pick your least favorite and and your most favorite, and you just tell me a little bit more about it. So the thing is that I carried out this exercise. I put it up on our for our web jam crew. I don't know who did it. So the right side is what I had written, and the left side is of the person who's anonymous. And it was really strange because when I said I really like personas, the same person, the other person said that that was their least liked. So it was pretty interesting to see the way that we think and the way that we use these methods and tools. So this is something that I thought would be interesting for us to do as a community, because it's a knowledge bank that we already have, and it's also something that people can then you can also see what others are doing and how others are thinking. So I'll be putting people into breakout rooms. There are about there are enough boards, so each person should pick one board and just fill out the components in the board. So it's very simple. So you just take the post-it, write the name, the reason why you like it, what is the context that you've used this method or tool, how many times have you used it, in which nature does it fit into. So is it qualitative, quantitative, if it's iterative, have you used it as its original form or have you iterated on, and where does it fit into the design process. Now the thing is that I've kept the design process empty because I know we all have our notions and thoughts about what design process is. So I didn't want to put a double diamond because you might like and you might appreciate something else. So yeah, please feel free and place it at the point that you feel that it's most apt. And if you have a picture or a visual that you'd like to add, please add it at the end. It's optional, and you don't have to do it, but if it's there, that would be great. So Mimp, can you send people out into the breakout rooms?
How long would you like people to be in the room, Anupa?
So I think they'll need some time, so 15 to 20 minutes and about 3 people per breakout room. So I think there is enough time for them to fill out the the graph, and also the table, and also have a little chat amongst themselves. So I hope you have fun, and I would really like for us to share once you come back. And please feel free to go and see the other boards once you're done, so you can see what other people are thinking. Are they thinking similarly? Are they thinking differently? It might just spark something. Yes, so that you fill out so each table is meant for one person, because you have one option, which is, your most favorite. So there's one table there. And then the next option is your least liked. So, it's one board per person. So, ready to go into hyperspace?
Time to go.
Yay! So I'm gonna open all rooms now. Anupa, Jimena, Nachke, and Hugo, please stay in the main room. And go, go, go. Off you go.
See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile.
So for the people who are in the breakout room, there is so on the board, there is an option called plenary. So if you'd like to go there, we can maybe, co-create and, we can just share and we can just, fill it out together. So Hugo, Patrick, you can also just duplicate the board, Hugo. So if you just want a board for yourself, please just, duplicate it, not a problem. That goes for for Peggy and Patrick as well.
Anupa, 1 second.
Peggy's
Patrick,
gone.
Patrick, would you like to go to your breakout room? You're assigned to room 5. Or would you like to stay here?
Well, I was typing to Howard some. We had a discussion by the chat, so I was typing a message to him, and that was during.
So, would you like to go into Howard's room? We can send you.
Please.
There.
Yeah.
And if it's great, please make another jam about it. That's your second pointer from us. No conversation should be left unturned.
It's about the headphones.
Who knows? Who knows? We're open to any topic.
So I'm gonna send you to Howard's room. Yay. So,
I didn't. I didn't listen carefully what I should do. So.
Okay, so
sorry for that.
Patrick, what you do is that you, yes, not a problem. So you pick a board, you take your option from step 1, which is your most liked and your least liked, and you place them under the name, and then you just fill out the boxes, reason why you liked it, which context, you can just see it and fill it out. Keep it basic. There is, it's very simple. So yeah.
Right. Sending you now. Please don't forget to click join, Patrick. And go. Go catch up with Howard.
And yes, so Hugo, maybe Jimena, can you go into the plenary board? I think Hugo is filling that out. So maybe our YouTube watchers can also see.
Yes.
Good.
And maybe Jimena and Mimp, you would like to add also, because you've been a part of the jams and also for your own professional work, if you want to discuss about something that you guys have used and liked.
Was more about share the and I just like to share.
Jimena, can you Hugo, are you filling out the plenary board? Can we see your board, please?
Not yet. I'm on the plenary board, but I haven't
started. So we shouldn't share it right now. We should wait for you.
Okay. So do you want me do you want me to fill it on the plenary board?
Yes, that would be great. And if you'd like, we can share that also. So it could be live, or you can just talk about it while you're filling it out. That's also okay.
Okay. So I will choose the most one of the tools that I like the most are the empathy maps. Because they so I'll put that as a reason, so I will try to type and write at the same time. I think it's the best way in terms of people to grasp the importance of empathy and the importance of feeling the other people's shoes in terms of design thinking and in terms of what is really important, not only to address in terms of pains and needs, but also in terms of possible needs, wants, and fears that people can have regarding some kind of product or solution or service, etc. So I will put needs, wants, and fears. So are you still with me? So far, so good?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a great option to pick because it's so human centered, and it talks a lot about, you know, a lot of things in one spot.
I wonder if
Yeah.
it's really in like your starting point, because without understanding the person, then what are you trying to do? Like
Yeah,
what are you trying to understand?
yeah,
Rather than
normally,
there's a
yeah,
problem.
yeah, I understand. Normally, I use the empathy map only after we kind of establish some kind of challenge, and we some kind of create some kind of mission for that design thinking initiative. So mainly it's about, okay, impacts and positive outcomes of this project and ideas that we don't even know what they will be. In terms of sense of urgency, why now and why with this team and why in this organization, and then in the bottom quadrants, I will say, I don't know, some kind of analysis in terms of barriers, so internal and external barriers that can appear and that can influence the outcomes of the project. Then normally I do a brain writing where people fill up any kind of possible ideas and challenges in order to do it, and then they perform a dot voting. And only then, when the mission is established, the kind of possible pains and gains in a macro level are established, then only then I use the empathy maps, so people can be aligned and can be immersed in the context that is important for them to create the empathy map. Normally, in order to, yeah, go.
I was just thinking that I've used the empathy map when people have not been aligned, because just to get them started, because I think empathy map has so much to do with yourself, right? And you know, it's really understanding what, let's say, the user or the customer is saying, what they're thinking. So it's almost getting an insight into what into, you know, how, you know, we can gauge the way that people are thinking. So it's interesting to see how, you know, both of us are using the same tool but at a different time and also in a different way. So I think that was quite interesting.
Yeah. Go.
No, yeah, carry on.
I know, but you are so right, because I think here the trick and the talent is basically which is to choose and to create the best puzzle of tools with the context and the people and the challenges that you have. So it's not a standard, a one deal, a one framework approach. It's basically how can you customize and create the best options for your customers and for your clients. And normally I explained the empathy map with me. So I ask people, and they are with me, I don't know, about an hour or so still, and I ask them to answer the questions of the empathy map regarding me. So I present the tool using me as a guinea pig. And then, okay, now that you know how to use the map and which kind of questions are important, then go create personas and try to figure out which kind of pains and gains they have regarding the challenge. So in terms of how why do I use it, or in terms of the context, sorry, I put here alignment and to identify the critical personas for the project. And I think it is a kind of a humble activity in terms of us to break out of our routines and break out of our habits and our passion for our ideas and our innovations, and to try to detach from ourselves and try to set up the mood in order to have ideas for others' benefit.
Yeah, when I started my, hi Dana, how are you? I've just put in the link that we're using right now. So if you'd like to join in, you know, please feel free. I'll let you know if you have any problem understanding what we need to do, just let me know.
Dana, you
Yeah.
sound different.
That's the dog barking in the background.
Would you like to stay with us or go to a breakout room? I give you options.
Well, I'm on the phone and I'm about to leave, so I think I'm going to just observe for the most part today.
Yeah, you can even chat about it. So basically, I've asked people what is their most liked method or tool that they use and what is their least liked, and they're just elaborating on that. The reason, where did they, when did they use it, how many times, where does it fit into the design process? So you can, you can just talk about it. Like, do you have most favorite or least liked design tool?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to be in the car partially.
Yeah, that's
so
okay.
I will try to engage, but if I don't say much, you'll know why.
That's okay. We are the web jam on the go. So, connect with us from anywhere,
yes, that's true.
Anytime.
Texas here. Thank you so much for catching me up.
That's all right.
So Hugo, what is your least liked? That's more interesting.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't have a lot of them, but I think one of the tools that probably it's not about not liking them. It's about yeah. I think it's about trying to I will choose this one, concept mapping, because sometimes we are asking people.
This is
because sometimes
Hugo,
we are
I just
asking
want
people.
to interrupt you. I just want to just interrupt you and tell you that while speaking, I said this was the one that I also really liked. So I'm very amused with the fact that it's your least liked. I think that was very nice.
No worries. We are still friends, Anupa. No worries.
Yes, for sure.
No, this is about personality, because I don't know. I think that the concept will be growing with the outcomes of each activity, and then it can be summarized in a value proposition design canvas or in a product discovery canvas, etc., etc. And I think that when we start too early to try to design or map the concept, I would say that for people that, for example, are more dedicated to product development or process development or service design, for example, that makes perfect sense. But in terms of my context, I normally use design thinking in order to organizations to work better in terms of organizational development, not so much in terms of hardcore product and service development. So for me, that kind of detail a little earlier, it makes some kind of, I don't know, tickles me, because I believe that people they should dive in other issues and in other topics before they start to create a concept, because sometimes we can rush and try to create a concept, for example, without an empathy map, without doing our voice of customer, without creating our point of view statement, etc., etc., and without using questions, how might we. So I think it's about the time and the structure of the tool that probably does not resonate with me in terms, because I'm a real I don't know, kind of rebel, very organic people. So everything that probably has a lot of restrictions or is used in the earlier time, and that can create restrictions to possibilities, that tickles my nerves. So probably it's about that.
Yeah, no, for me, I think why I like it, because, everything is very relational. So, you can take one piece of like data and connect it with something else, and, it keeps changing. So let's say for the business canvas model, I know we need to see that we need to use that more into the, let's say the a little bit after the generative state, but I've used it right at the beginning, because I feel that it is like it's a system where you can use, like, because each project I feel feel comes with a certain kind of bandwidth of knowledge, unless it's from the scratch. So whatever I've dealt with up to now already has a preset, literature. And so what I do is that I have the basic structure. I iterate on it, definitely. I add my other resources which are important. And I use that as a starting point. So I have everything. So because I'm a hoarder, so I think it's also very behavioral in the way that we choose tools. And that's where I start off. So it's nice to see that, in conversation, it's also the how we think.
Normally,
Yeah.
normally, no,
Sorry,
no, no.
Frankie, would you like to go into the breakout room? Okay. Yeah, go on, Hugo. Sorry.
No, I was just listening to you, and I was saying, okay, but I do use a concept map in the beginning. I only call it. I use a different tool for probably the same approach. I use mind mapping. So in a more organic, in a more okay. Let's think about dimensions. Okay, and then let's think about the details of those dimensions in terms of current state or future state. And then let's correlate the relations in terms of positive impact and negative. So probably the same approach, perhaps. I think we can still be friends again. But I think here it's about the tool itself, where, okay, concepts, I see it in a more rigid way. And with mind mapping, I think people can evolve in a more organic, in a more, how can I say this, in a more wild way. And then with interactions, things will come up in terms of a more concrete and convergent result, I would say.
Yeah. When you start, let's say, your design process, do you have a list or a stated methods and tools that you would use, or is it with time and within the project that you keep iterating on what is the requirement?
Yeah, I would say that the touch base or the starting phases of the projects, they are more or less aligned in terms of the 3 or 4 tools and methodologies that I use. But then the rest, I leave it open. So I prepare my workshops in terms, I don't know, I prepare my workshops for 150% of the time and of the tools. Okay. And then when we are navigating from one session to other, I will choose in terms of what was the feedback of the people and which were the outcomes and the information and the ideas and the results of the meaningful conversations that have come up, which can be the right tool in order to explore again in the divergent way that kind of information outcomes. So I would say that I have 30% of the workshops are frozen in terms of methodologies, and then I probably that's something that I will do this summer, is try to create some kind of compilation of all the possible tools that we can use in several stages, and which ones can be used in every stage, or at least in several stages. But I would say that it is like that. I would 30 or 40% of the tools that are frozen, that are chosen, and the other ones I will have it in my hand, in my pocket, and use it as the context and as the navigation of the workshops will give me signs, or the people will give me feedback. I also try to use one new tool in every workshop, even if I don't know how to do it or etc. I obviously do it in a very responsible way, in terms of this will not jeopardize the process. But I try to use one of the tools that A, I am not comfortable with, or B, I haven't tried to do it, but I think I will be comfortable with. So it's about something that I don't like, so the elephant, or eating the frog, or something that I would like to try new in terms of a new experience.
Anupa,
Yeah.
I can't stop the timer.
Okay.
So we might have to like send them back out, or we can let them continue working.
Yeah, I think let them come back. We can also do like a walkthrough of, like if anybody wants to talk about their tool, or I think that's quite interesting, Hugo, because I've the clients, when I tell them about a tool, when they've actually executed that tool, I think they're more likely to be more open to a lot of things, like if they're not design thinking design thinking adept, as opposed to, let's say, during sprints, when you just give them new tools and they expect them to think as designers. I think that's when I think the real issue starts happening, because it's also a level of comfort that people need to have, and in terms of how they design. So Mim, there is an option saying keep breakout rooms open. Should we just open them?
So I'm keeping it open.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell everybody that you're being generous and giving them 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think people are still having some conversation. So let's do that. Hugo, do you want to finish filling out your table?
Yeah.
And
so let me. So I will go to the Maro board, and so
yeah,
I will put here.
Peggy, would you like to go back to your breakout room?
Yes.
If you've
yes, okay.
Yes.
I'll send you back. We got another 5 minutes, by the way.
God.
Yes, I think people need time.
Number
There's
3.
a lot.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Sent.
How are you liking it? Are you having fun?
Yes, fine.
Himena and Mim, why don't you tell us about like some tools that you've liked and maybe used in the web jam, or any of the other speakers have used that you really remember?
I love Question Storm so much. Like, I don't know if anybody remembers that. That was like my favorite. One
with
that I
Els Grad.
Yeah, and Jeroen
Jerome.
Timmer,
Yeah.
right? Yes,
Yeah.
Him. I love that one so much because you're just asking questions. You kept asking questions because you don't, not for the sake of getting an answer, but just question storm. Yeah, I like that.
And I think Jimena?
Yeah, no, I think that one I remember was about with Pedro and being creative. So when you have like objects or things that don't make sense at the beginning, and then you try to find some connection, and that allows you to explore or other ideas and become innovative.
Yeah, I actually even like the tool that you guys used for your stereotype session. It really gave people, the ability to think, and also be, I think it's also important to understand how your participants will react to a tool, because privacy, psychological safe space is so important in today's day and age, that, and you're not overburdening them, so I think the first jam that I was hosting, I think I overdid it and gave the participants way too much to do. So I think it's very important to look at the nature of, the type of, in the context, and seeing how people adapt to it. It's not only about, using the right tools, but how you use it and why, like quantity versus quality.
Yeah, I mean, right now that even like
Jimena, can you share Hugo's screen? I mean, Hugo's box.
And tell me when to close breakout rooms.
Sorry?
I'm just telling Anupa, tell me when to close breakout rooms. Please.
There we go.
Yeah. Maybe in another 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes? It's been 5 already.
Exactly.
It's really quick.
Okay, yeah. So maybe now. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Should I give them 1 minute and then
Yeah,
so they can wrap up? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just saying that even that sometimes we think of the tools that are, like they're available on the web as such, and let's say printed in a book. And I think that with Wednesday Web Jam, we've been able to come together with our own tools that we want to share with the others. So now that you mentioned that what Mim and I did, maybe I hadn't seen it like, oh yeah, this is like a tool, right? Or I wouldn't have framed it like that. And but then we start to think about it. It's like, yeah, well, maybe this is also like the benefit, like the space for ourselves and people who come and our guests to show other things that perhaps you already know, maybe Canvas and so on, but these are new things that you want to try or share. And that's the most amazing thing that we get to have here as well.
So yeah, I think that's very important in the way that the perspective that you create, you know, in what you're doing, and you know how you're gauging the environment. And I think that's what we've learned a lot from the web gem also, which I've used in my own work, is you know, keep it simple, you know, at when it's required, and keep it, you know, engaging and insightful, and immersive, you know, when it's required. So I think that's also quite you know, quite important of choosing rightfully. Maybe should we
Creating.
get
So not only choosing, but also
yeah
creating.
I just broadcasted to everybody closing all breakout rooms now. So
Yes.
They got 30 seconds. Yes. I wanted to quickly mention, by the way, like our session, it wouldn't have happened without your help, Anupa, as well as Yunyen's and like Vika's, because, and Arne's, and a lot of other people, because like you guys gave us so much. It was our first time facilitating. We had no idea like what we're supposed to like work this tool, and
so many ideas.
Yeah, so many ideas, and it kind of just happened. And yeah, I'm very proud of us as a team. So like, thank you for your help, sis. I see people coming back now.
Yes, I see people coming back, and I'm eagerly waiting for people to share. So I would love to hear people and their thoughts about you know, what they liked. And
who would like to go first?
Or should I just pick people?
Vika,
would you like to go?
Yeah, we had a very interesting conversation about several topics. It started with the favorites of Susanna, and Susanna told us about visualization, which of course resonated with me, you can imagine. And she didn't like dot voting a lot. But then we came to the point, like you can also use dot voting, not like making a decision, but creating a heat map. So that could be, an interesting application of dot voting that's taking away the downsides of it. Then Gavin shared a very interesting tool he created himself, and it's called Assumption Against Reality. And I think Gavin could explain a bit better than I did, than I will do. But it's about creating empathy with the group of people that you work with. For example, a student who never thought about their parents in a specific way. So you've got assumptions how they lived their life before you came into their life. And what assumptions are that? He also told a very nice story about a monk and a teacup. And we got to the point where Matthew shared his favorite tool, breakup and love letters, which I've done actually somewhere as a participant in a workshop. And I love that too. And then we came to a discussion about how brainstorming worked. Like the brainstorming, you put people together in a room, and now together you will create ideas, generate ideas. And well, what happens when the boss is in the room, or if there's someone who's very dominating the conversation, So yeah, just go in a room and do brainstorming and expect that there will be a positive outcome is like the stupidest thing you can imagine. That's about it. Maybe you can.
Yeah. Yeah, Gavin, would you like to share a little bit about the tool that you've created? We'd love to hear about it.
So again, it's actually a pre-research tool, something that I use to get people to warm up to the idea of research. And what I do is that I get them to work with someone who's really close to them, right? So in this case, it could be a sibling, or it could be a parent, or it could be a best friend. And it's about writing your assumptions about this person, right? About pivotal moments in their life, their biggest breakthroughs, turning points, some of their highs and lows. And then spending a week with them, trying to actually get to the bottom of some of these issues, right? Were your assumptions true, or were they false? Or were they miles apart? And what really comes out of this entire exercise is that, especially because people do it with someone who's really close to them, they realize that we hear only what we want to hear, and we take out only what we want to take out, right? But when we actually spend some time with a person, the real picture is quite different from the ones that we have made up in our own heads, right? And so it really opens their minds up to how you can go about research. That's why I do it as a more of a warm-up thing than something.
Yeah, I think that's very important because, when research or even when designing becomes one-sided, it has to be about your user or your customer. That has to be a focus point, not throughout, but at some point, and this is a great way of doing that. Thank you for sharing. Would anybody else like to share? One more person before we introduce our next week's session. I'll have to pick someone, whoever I see next to my screen. So I'm going to pick Howard because he's next to my screen. Howard, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. I could share what we've discussed.
Sure.
So there was a lot of talk around process. So we discussed that waterfall isn't really a nice framework or methodology these days. We've also discussed about some tools. So Jenny had shared that Lego Serious Play is a nice tool to be facilitating methods around with. And then there was a discussion around that on Playmobil as well, and then the difference between Lego Serious Play and Playmobil. Am I saying it right? Playmobil. Yeah, Patrick was sharing his insights that when he started using it, it's totally different, and it's great for setting up scenes and scenarios. Yeah. And what else? I did share that I like combining methods such as Simon Sinek's Golden Circle with the 5 whys. So as soon as I got to the why, I did 5 whys on top of that.
Yeah.
So even digging deeper onto the methodology of getting to the root why. And what else? Am I missing anything else, Jenny?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was desperately trying to type something into the board because we were so busy talking. We didn't actually fill your board out, Anupa. I'm so sorry. Maybe we'll do it after the show.
No problem, Jenny. Yes, yeah, that'll be fine. Conversations are much more important than the board can come later.
But I think you did a good job, Howard. You covered a lot of stuff. You covered really a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Cool.
So this is the end of the session today. Thank you all for coming and participating. I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you next week. Should we introduce our next week's session? Neil, over to you.
Yes, Neil. Where are you?
Is he still there?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was unmuted. I was muted. Sorry. Yeah, next week. Next week, yeah. I thought it was nice to talk a little bit about metaphors, and I've been intrigued by metaphors for a while now. I'm not an expert on it, but I really like them and how people use them in business. And I also like the way you can use them in creative business for, I don't know, for creating concepts and explaining to someone else who doesn't understand your concept and finding common ground to get your ideas over to another person. You can use metaphors for that. And maybe you can even use metaphors to create some new insights in your concept or ideas or whatever you are working on. So I'm curious to see if we can explore that a little bit. So I will be explaining some about metaphors, giving you a lot of examples and giving you some interactive work if we can come up with some metaphors that we can use as design thinkers. So hopefully I will see you all next week.
Yes, that will be lovely.
And the link will be in the chat for everybody to register. So please keep your eye out.
And there's already plenty of positive responses in the chat now. So it looks like it's an interesting topic, Niels.
All right, excellent. That's good to see and to hear. Cool.
So, Mim, since we're again at the end of the hour, we will be going into backstage now. We'll be switching off YouTube, so people are more free to discuss, what their least favorite tool or method is, or their favorite. And yeah, let's have some more insightful conversation. Yay. And we should be saying bye to YouTube now.
Goodbye to YouTube. Everybody wave.
Bye.
Bye.